Kamalji Chandu joins us on the phone line for more on this story. Kamalji, the news that you actually broke just about an hour ago, that the Home Ministry has actually sought a report, a factual report on what exactly happened. Home Minister Rajnath Singh is going a step further, announcing that additional force will now be deployed. But the big criticism that is going to come now is that in a state which in any case has very heightened security steps that are taken, particularly by the centre, not just state, but also by the centre, this incident happens right under the nose, right under the watch of all those agencies.
Well, at this point of time, Centre has made it very clear that law and order is a state subject. So even though this incident has happened in Nagaland, there is a specific state division, which is the central division, which is that of Northeast Division in Ministry of Home Affairs, which has sought a report. Home Ministry itself has taken a very serious view of it. And obviously, the law and order cannot be taken into the hands of a common citizen. A mob justice cannot be done. And in this particular case, if he was the accused, the law would take its own course, is something which the officials are very, very clear about. And that is why a report has been sought. Now, this is obviously a factual report which has been sought from the state of Nagaland. And remember, there is a clear video available where these 4,000 mob is actually seen. So a lot of faces are very clearly seen. They would want to know whether an FIR has been registered in this particular case, whether the accused, which are the rest of the people who are trying to take this man away from prison authority, are obviously trying to do justice in their own way. But this is simply not done. And this is obviously about common citizen taking law into its own hand. There is a justice system in India. This is not a mob mentality, and that is why a clear message has been sent out. And the division has sought a report. Now, they're actually waiting for Nagaland to send that report back to take further action as to what can really be done. But at this point of time, clearly, with the law and order being a state subject, they're letting Nagaland really handle it.
Kamalji, the Home Minister has said that they're taking all necessary steps and additional force will be deployed. Can you just take us through in greater detail, because you understand the functioning of the Home Ministry perhaps in a better way than most of us. What really does this mean? Does this mean that additional paramilitary forces will be deployed in the state to make sure that any backlash or any sort of law and order crisis that may develop beyond this point could in fact be contained?
Absolutely, Sanket. There are two ways when you look at law and order situation is when the centre does assist the state government, and on the other hand, the state government does demand for additional forces. This is in regards with the law and order situation. But when the centre really feels suo moto that more forces are really required to handle a particular situation, then central forces are obviously rushed there. And we know that Nagaland is obviously militancy affected. There is being disturbance there in Nagaland. So yes, keeping in mind the sort of action which has really happened in the heart of Dimapur, extremely disturbing, extremely brutal. This is something that the centre has taken very seriously, and that is why additional forces will be rushed there. But at this point of time, the focus back in the northeast at this point of time to control the law and order situation and see that justice is really done, and people who acted against this particular rape accused are also treated as criminals.
Absolutely. We'll try going across to Manugya Loiwal also in just a short moment, who will tell us the latest on the ground, what exactly is happening in Dimapur at this moment, whether the situation is calm or is it still tense on the streets of Dimapur. But let's quickly tell you what exactly is this incident that we are actually reporting. In a shocking case of mob justice, a rape accused was stripped, chained and beaten to death by a mob in Nagaland. Now, the Ministry of Home Affairs, as we have in fact been telling you, has intervened and sought a report from the state government. Now, the rape accused was forcefully dragged out of Dimapur jail in Nagaland. The angry mob then tied him to a rope and paraded him naked on the streets and then beat him to death. Of course, their intention, the mob's intention, was to take him to a famous clock tower in Dimapur and publicly execute him. All this happening right under the nose of the various authorities that have been deployed over there in Dimapur. The people in Dimapur are angry. Why is this happening? Because they're angry over a rape of a student from SD Jain College on the 23rd of February, of which this man who was lynched to death was the main accused. Now, a mass protest rally against the rape was held at Dimapur yesterday, after which students and angry people forced into the district jail and managed to pull out the accused. The police resorted to firing, and they also fired tear gas shells but failed to control the situation. Curfew has also been imposed since last evening following incidents of arson in Dimapur town. An emergency cabinet meeting was held last evening to take stock of the law and order situation in Dimapur. The cabinet condemned the violent incident and ordered a high-level probe. Let's now go across to Manogya for all the latest. Manogya, do we know what exactly is the situation on the ground at this moment?
Well, I would put it in 3 words. It's grim, serious and volatile. And with that, it is also a very eerie situation that prevails there because of the violent situation that we had seen yesterday. It continues to remain very, very volatile there. We've spoken to a lot of people who confirmed that yes, whatever happened was extremely to be sorry about, but with that the government has yet to be taking the people to task because the number of people to be executed would be huge. There were hundreds and thousands of people on the streets who were there against this allegedly Bangladeshi rapist who had raped one of the students there, and after that he was taken to task where he was given orders to be there in the jail, in the prison. But then they broke the prison and then entered the prison and of course took him out, dragged him on the streets for several hours, hung him for a while, and then when he was in unconscious state, they almost set him ablaze. This is one of the most gory incidents that have been reported from Nagaland, or rather eastern part of the country this year. And with that, we also know that there has been a cabinet meeting that was held yesterday. With that, several action is expected. And now with the Ministry of Home Affairs roping in more additional forces to ensure that there is enough action being taken there, and of course adequate forces to ensure law and order situation, which is a state subject, as Kamaljeet was telling us. It is of course a time for everyone to wait and watch, and with the prohibitory orders planned, you might not see many people on the streets.
Absolutely. Manogya, do stay on with us. Let's quickly also play that small reaction that we had from the local MLA there in Nagaland, a BJP MLA who spoke to Headlines Today yesterday, and this is what he had to say. Now, the MLA that we are actually talking about, his name is Monlumo Kikon. He is the BJP MLA from Dimapur. Headlines Today spoke to him exclusively last night. He in fact seemed to suggest that the situation is quite volatile on the streets of Dimapur. We'll try playing out that reaction in just a short moment from now, but of course reports have in fact been sought by the central government as well on this particular incident. While we quickly queue up that particular reaction, Manogya, let me come across to you back again. Now the whole point that is being talked about here is that Nagaland and particularly Dimapur is a hostile territory. We have seen that insurgency, counter-insurgency operations have in fact been taking place. It's a volatile belt also as far as terrorism is concerned. There is always a heightened level of security and a lot of troop deployment in Nagaland. Despite that, there was enough force, as the ground reports are actually coming in. Despite all of that, despite tear gas shelling, it seemed that the administration completely failed to control this particular situation.
Absolutely. Given the demography of Nagaland, we've seen, when I went there, I've seen that even the airport seems to be like a completely military base. And with that, we also understand that it's not only the security and the tension that prevails there all year round, but this has also led to heightened security and, of course, augmentation of security forces in the area. Given the fact that the Ministry of Home Affairs has now taken action into it and has initiated additional forces to be deployed at the earliest, this also means that the troops will take time in being posted there or being sent there. Now with that, we also understand that the control of the situation will take time because it has been very, very volatile there. And of course, the number of people who have been immediately involved in it is huge. So for the state government to take initially action will be, of course, tough. And with the prohibitory orders clamped, you might expect some action being taken. But of course, a very, very serious situation as the ground zero of Nagaland is concerned.
All right, Manogya Loiwal, many thanks for joining us at this moment. Let's quickly listen in to what Monlumo Kikon, the BJP MLA from Dimapur, actually had to say.
They gathered in front of the central jail, demanding that the culprit be handed over to them. The mob got violent over the course of time, and within no time they broke into the central jail and got the culprit out and paraded him naked till the city tower, which is the center of the Dimapur town. He did not die after being hanged, but he was beaten to death along the way. When it happened at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, the police swiftly got into action, but by that time the culprit had already been beaten to death. The police fired shots in the air to disperse the crowd, and the crowd also reacted by burning down around 12 vehicles of the police. So the police now called in various other security agencies to actually quell the thing. Situation is very tense because of two issues. One, the rape, which is condoned and condemned by everybody. The second, which is the manner in which the culprit was murdered, which is condemned by one and all. But larger and the deeper issue of how illegal Bangladeshi immigrants have come over and how the crime graph of Nagaland has shown that 70% of crime, from petty theft to murder, rape,
Right.
and theft, has been committed by illegal Bangladeshi immigrants over the years.